Hey there, I'm Norman. I'm an artist, or some people call me just some chocolate box illustrator. And I guess they're right. I like to paint scenes from American life, or at least the very best of American life. And I see it as my job to spread some happiness and joy amongst people, because life could be so hard for people these days. Anyway, I guess I better tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in New York in 1894. I'd like to say I had a happy childhood, but I'm afraid I saw too much misery and sadness for that. New York was home to more than 3 million people at the time, and every week thousands of people were arriving from all four corners of the globe to seek their fortune. It seemed to me a very violent place, and it wasn't just the men. I remember once seeing a woman beating a man with an umbrella. Imagine that! I guess you could say I wanted to escape from an early age. I was skinny as a kid and clumsy at sports, but I quickly found I had a talent for drawing and painting, so art gave me an opportunity to do just that. When I was 14, I attended the Chase Art School. 4 years later, at just 18, I had my first major breakthrough, a book illustration for Carl H. Claudy's Tell Me Why, Stories About Mother Nature. A year later, I became art editor for Boy's Life, published by Boy Scouts of America, and I painted several covers for the magazine. There was no stopping me then. Not even the Great War, when I joined the Navy, could stop me painting and painting and painting. During the war, I liked to paint people and families back home, rather than the horrors of the front line. As I said before, I like my art to lift people up and make them proud. Look at these pictures. The son looks so proud of his father. He is something he aspires to be. I like the contrast of the innocence of the home with the bravery and masculinity of the soldiers. You could say the younger boy is looking at a version of his older self. You could even say the younger boy is me. My pictures are described as being joyful and idealistic, and I often use children as my subjects. I guess I want to give them a better childhood than I had. Anyway, I'm digressing. Where was I? I was at my most successful during the 1930s and 1940s when I moved to a little town called Arlington in Vermont, which is a backdrop for many of my most famous works. During World War II, I was so inspired by President Roosevelt's speech about the 4 freedoms and universal rights that I produced a series of pictures based on them. They raised hundreds of millions of dollars for the war effort. I was really proud of them. But although my work is popular, I'm not so popular with the so-called experts in the art world. Those people that are not nice about my work. They say it's sweet and kitsch, whatever that means. They say it presents a fairy tale picture of American life. Now, I agree I'm more of an illustrator than an artist like your Picasso or Jackson Pollock. My work is intended for commercial use. No one wants to see some squiggles over their breakfast. I'm quite different in my style to a lot of these modern artists with their cubism and expressionism and whatnot. I like to stage my scenes and document them on my camera. I then project the photograph onto the canvas and trace over the outline. I understand artists were doing this way back in the 15th century with mirrors and other fancy equipment. I like my scenes to be precise and lifelike, but some artists, like that fellow Pollock who started his career in the 1930s, well, they seem to get away with dripping paint onto the canvas to create what they call abstract art. Even the critics don't seem to like him. They say his art is just unorganised explosions of random energy. So I guess we both actually have something in common after all. Despite the perfect pictures I like to paint, my home life has been a little up and down, shall we say. I married 3 times in an awful shock in 1943 when my little home studio burnt down. In recent times I've painted more what people like to call social commentary. Just look at my painting The Problem We All Live With from 1964. Luckily people still seem to like them. I even received a Medal of Honour from the President. I just hope that I managed to spread a little joy and a little happiness. I managed to recall what it was like to be an American in the 20th century.